Hey everyone. So today I am coming to you, like I said, I'm going to take up 12 minutes of your time today to explain to you just some considerations that you should take before you start some sort of weight loss or exercise journey. So you are viewing my screen. This is how I talk to my clients every single week and their check-ins. I'm looking at their food. I'm looking at their weight, their photos, all kinds of different stuff, and they're seeing me work on the screen. So I figured this was actually a really great way because I'm going to show you some visuals today. But I wanted to first start with a visualization. So many of you guys drive a car. I'm assuming you have a car. And ever so often, those cars break down or they make a noise. We've all been there where we're driving down the road and all of a sudden something starts clanking, whistling, rattling, shuddering, and it's a super big inconvenience, right? If you're like me, I hate car issues, whichever. So let me ask you, if you're driving down the road and you hear some sort of knocking or clanking or shuddering or some sort of whistling sound, you can probably guesstimate that something is wrong with your car and you probably need to take it in, right? So the last thing you would probably do is get that car on the highway and take it at 80, 90 miles per hour full throttle. Probably wouldn't be smart. You would expect that you're probably going to end up stranded on the side of the road. Maybe something else happens. Maybe you lose control. Maybe like a piece of your car falls off. I've actually seen an engine fall out of a car on the road. That was interesting. But we probably wouldn't like take a car that we feel like is not working super well and put it pedal to the metal on the highway, right? I want you now to imagine that your body is kind of like that car. And every day, your body gives you signs that things are going well or that things need work. I like to call these little things sirens, but we can call them just like the car, like noises, a rattling, a shuddering, a whistling. So what would these things be? Maybe getting frequent migraine headaches, acid indigestion or heartburn. Maybe you go to the doctor and they tell you have hypothyroidism or high cholesterol or high blood pressure. Maybe your hands and your feet ache consistently. Maybe your periods are the period from hell. You stay home from work, you're debilitated with cramps and lower back pain. You flood 8 tampons by noon and you're afraid you're going to make a mess. And you live with that every single month. I could go on and on and on and on with all of these little sirens or sounds that our body or car give us all the time that something is not right. However, as females, especially living in the 21st century, we've gotten really good at either living with these sirens or taking something like a pill. Modern medicine is amazing to help alleviate the symptoms, but the siren is still there. So I ask you, if your car, if your body is giving you a lot of signs that things are not optimal, if I've got you thinking about that, like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Didn't really think about that way. If you're starting to think that way, would you then think that your body is ready to become a lean, mean, toned machine to work optimally all of a sudden? Probably not. But that's what we typically do at the beginning of the year, is we ask our bodies to give us something that our body is not necessarily ready to do. We ask for it to lose weight quickly on a diet. We ask for it to suddenly start going through 3, 4, 5 HIIT exercise classes. When I talk about exercise classes, I'm talking about your Orange Theory, your F45, your, like high intensity type things, your classes, your spin classes, whichever. All of a sudden we went from doing nothing to doing everything without ignoring all of the little signs that our body has given us. And when we ignore that, we're actually not setting ourselves up foundationally to have the best results. Typically, what happens is our car ends up breaking down. What does a breakdown look like? Injury. Injury is one, for sure. If we look a little deeper, binging. So binging or overeating or falling off the wagon, whatever you want to call it, this is actually more physiological than psychological. So what does that mean? What do I mean when I say that binging, how is that a siren or a sign that you've taken things too far? Binging is typically your body's physiological response to it needs more energy. Calories are energy. Usually by the time I see ladies start to binge or fall off on the weekends or fall off every night, it's no longer within their control. Because physiologically, they've allowed their bodies to get to a point where you're not even thinking with your normal brain. You're acting out of instinct to keep you alive because you've gone too far, because you maybe didn't listen to the sirens. So when we're starting at the beginning of the year, understand that where you start is very, very important for where you go and the ultimate outcome. If you diet and exercise hard, you might have a harder fall off. If you ignore sirens and things that your body is telling you, and you just jump in anyway without getting some sort of feedback or professional advice, you might actually be doing more harm than good. So I realize this is where it becomes really important to give you some sort of case study, some sort of real life like example of this. Lost my words for a second, so I'm going to move my face right over here. I'm going to show you a picture of a client that I've been working with since May. So this client came to me. She had some existing inconsistencies with lab work in relation to her liver, some hormonal things going on, some instances around her cycle. She also had a prior injury with her hip that kept her from exercising. In essence, she was not ready to go full throttle into a dieting phase. So we assessed things and spent the first really 7 weeks. Whoops. I wanted to show this first. Here, first, right here. So we spent the first 7 or so weeks really just optimizing things, getting her sleep more consistent, getting her water more consistent. We started close to 1,900 calories. She was not exercising and is still not doing any sort of consistent exercise routine. Due to her injuries and her life, she's a mother and a grandmother, that just didn't make sense for her. So the first 6 or 7 weeks, we really did not diet. Now, was there pound loss on the scale? Yes, mostly from inflammation, just starting to feel better. But you can see body-wise, there's not a whole lot of difference that occurred in the first few weeks. But once we got things going, things really started to turn around. She's now down a little over 26 pounds. We've never cut calories below about 1,700, and she is still only focused daily on a step goal. Her labs have improved. Liver levels are back to normal. Her cycle has regulated and is way more bearable. She sleeps better. She handles her emotions better. She no longer has daily pain from a nagging hip injury. And she has a much better relationship with food. This result, this outcome, did not come from over dieting and over exercising. It came from really listening to what she needed, not necessarily what she wanted. I'm sure she wanted to lose weight a lot faster than she did. We just wanted to do things right by her body. Now I'll show you her face. And I posted this a few weeks ago. So you can see a marked change. There is so much more change here than just 26 pounds. There is an entirely different feeling about her. She looks like she's lost 15 years off of her life, and she is 46. She is a grandmother and a mother and busy, has a full-time job. But we listened to the sirens that her body was giving her, and instead of digging right deep into a diet that her body likely could not maintain, or an exercise program that did not fit her current ability level or lifestyle, we took things slowly, methodically. We were patient. We did not overdo it. And the results speak for themselves. So as I close today, I just want you to start thinking about what kind of sirens your body is giving you. Are there things that you could be listening to that have been ignored? And could these things be a factor when you are considering which way to approach weight loss this next year? So many times we dive deep into first exercise multiple times a week, high intensity exercise, etc., or a diet that is really aggressive. Well, maybe we need to sit back and just take care of things first so that we get the results we want and so that the results last. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you soon.